on artificial intelligence. It uses a lot of Scratch-like blocks, so hopefully it'll be really accessible to most of us, and hopefully you have joined some of our AI sessions this week. We're going to think about what we've learned this week around about AI, and we're going to start coding our own artificial intelligence model. With us in the chat, we have my colleagues Eva Wilkinson and Martin Coates. So they're going to keep an eye on the chat for us while we're kind of going along. So any questions, do feel free to kind of put things in the chat, and Martin and Eva, I'll pick things up. So I know there are people still coming in. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start with a couple of wee questions to kind of set the scene, and we'll get started. So the first thing I would like to ask, and I'm going to assume, and I might be wrong, but I'm going to assume that we've all used Scratch before, done some Scratch programming. Would that be a fair thing to say? I hope so, because we're going to be using it today. I'd like to have the code that's on the board there. And what we have, you've got a character that's got 3 different costumes that we see on the left-hand side. There's a costume called Waiting, a costume called Happy Face, a costume called Sad Face. And then there's code that goes along with it. It says, when the green flag's clicked, forever, switch to costume Waiting, ask, say something to me, and wait. Then we've got, if the answer equals, I like your drawing, then switch to costume Happy. If the answer is, your drawing is bad, then switch to costume Sad Face, wait for a couple of seconds, and then go back to the start. So, do we have an idea of what might happen if I run this program and type in the phrase, I like your drawing? What should happen? What should happen if I type in the phrase, I like your drawing? So feel free to just type in the chat. Happy face. So happy face should appear, of course. And then after a few seconds, it'll go back to its normal face. If the phrase is bad, what should happen? Sad face. Brilliant. So let's just make sure that's the case. So here's my little. The code's exactly the same. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so we can type it. I'm going to press the green flag. It says, say something to me. Now, I don't know how well you see the text at the very bottom. I'm going to type in, I like your drawing. And if it works, we should get a happy face. Brilliant. Well, what if I type this? I like your painting. What's it going to do if I type in, I like your painting? Sad face. Well, I'm going to press it and we'll see what happens. Absolutely, nothing's happening. Actually, if I type in anything else other than the phrases I've said, it's going to sit and do absolutely nothing. Let's come out here for a second. So when we look at this code, while it works absolutely as we expect it to, it's not very clever, is it? Because it only reacts when we have very specific messages. Drawing, or your drawing is bad. It gives us those 2 conditions and makes a choice. This week we've been learning about artificial intelligence, and we've been learning that artificial intelligence programs need knowledge base to know a big set of rules about all sorts of different things. They need to be trained to recognize different things might be, and then we apply them in programming. So in today's session, what we're going to do is that we're going to create this program with a few other tweaks. But instead of doing this comparison here that says, if answer equals I like your drawing, we're going to connect that to our machine learning AI brain that we're going to train and say, if the answer is something that we know is a nice it's going to switch to the happy face. And if the answer is something that we know is a not so nice thing, it's going to switch to the sad face. So we're going to train our model to do that. So that's the general plan. I hope everyone's here, and we're going to get started. We're going to get started by going to the Machine Learning for Kids website, which is this. So hopefully, if you've got access to your computers, you're going to go to machinelearningforkids.co.uk, and hopefully you'll see this window. So I'm going to give you a minute or so to go to that. Excuse me. And we're going to start. Building our artificial intelligence model. So we understand what are nice things and what are not nice things, and we're going to connect that brain to a Scratch program, and then we're going to make sure that our answers are as a nice thing or not nice thing, and we're going to react. And we'll then think about the other complexities that go along with that as we go. So I hope that all makes sense. Again, very aware that you all can't see the chat, but give us a thumbs up, the emoji thing, if we're all working. All okay? Oh, look at that. Almost like a Mexican wave that happened there with the thumbs up. Okay, brilliant. I am going to con, if that's okay. I hope everyone's got the website Machine Learning for Kids. Please do let people know in the chat, Martin, Eva, myself, if I am going too fast. It's difficult to kind of gauge things. So just do let me know. So if you're on this website, you can just press the button Get Started. And if you have accounts and things, you can log in. But honestly, for the purpose of today, without needing to log in, we're going to use the Try Without Registering and Try It Now button. That's what we're going to do. Just click on that, Try It Now. It's going to give us access to our project area. And your project area will be empty because we're just trying it out. All right? So once you're in the project area, we're going to create a new project. Add a new project. And it's going to ask us to give it a name. I'm going to call it Emotions. You can call it something else if you want, something you know what it's called. I'm going to call it Emotions. And it's going to be recognizing text. And the language is going to be set to English, and storage is going to be in the web browser. There we go. So Emotions, recognizing text, English in the browser. If you say the cloud, it's fine as well, but it's in the web browser. And once you've got that set up, the only thing you really need to make sure you get right is the recognizing text, because that's the bit that we're going to be training, because we can do activities where it recognizes images and sounds and other things, but for the purpose of today's activity, it is text. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to press Create. And you should get this grey box, this grey rounded rectangle box. Oh, too many students on the Academy trial later. Oh, so it might just be because there are, how many schools are with us just now? 50 odd pupils. Right, okay, so what to do is we'll just give it a minute. We might have just had everyone logging in at the same time and pressing the button at the same time. That's unfortunate.
We love an unexpected curveball, don't we, on a live lesson?
We do indeed. You know what, I'm going to just give it a minute and then we'll think about something else. The joys of relying on some free things, eh?
Yeah, there's a few messages coming in. It all seems to be the same error message.
Yeah. Okay, it's taking time to get everything. You know what we're going to do? We'll just wait another, give people time in the class to see if it's just kind of that whole kind of almost like denial of service attack that we're doing. We're kind of overloading that server by having loads of us press the button at the same time. We'll just give it a minute. I did notice when I pressed the Add Project button, it took a wee while for it to come through. So let's just wait a minute and then we'll see. while, well, my project's still working here, what I will do though is I want to just show some teachers, because I can show you this just now and again, even the pupils in your class, while you're trying to create that project. Remember, it's recognising text and call emotions, and that's what it is. When you are on the site, teachers, you can go to the worksheets tab, and the worksheets tab has got a real great selection of activities about how to use this site. Previously, during Computing Science Week, I went through the Smart Classroom activity, which was creating a model to turn lights on, turn lights off, to turn the music off, using this. But what I want to just show you is that if you're a teacher, you can go to this section and you can click on the activity and you get all the resources. So if you have a look, you can download the worksheet for each of the different projects. And they actually are really kind of high quality, really easy to use step through examples. The activity that I'm doing with called Make Me Happy. So I'm going through my version of this activity, but if things don't work for everyone and we can't actually do this activity as a group, I will very quickly go through the demonstration of what we're doing. Then perhaps teachers, you can use the Make Me Happy resource, and you can download the project worksheet for the Scratch thing, which would be this one here, shorter version of the Scratch project. It's a PDF instructions and it's really super clear and really kind of straightforward to access. This is the first time I've seen the machine learning website act like this. I don't know how we're getting on. Do we have any success with the machine learning for kids building a project? I've got a thumb up there.
Yeah, no more comments coming in to say that so
okay, so should I just crack on? Should we just start doing the demonstration?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right, okay. Right, here we go. So hopefully you've managed to create a project and you've got this rounded rectangle with the name of your project. Mine is called Emotions and it's recognized in text. When we click in here, we've got three options. We've got the option to train our machine learning model for it to understand what it is we're trying to teach it and test it, and then we can connect it to Scratch, which is Make. So the first thing we want to do is go to Train. And in the training section, we need to tell our computer, to tell our model, some things that are nice and some things that are not so nice. So we're going to press Add New Label, and we're going to put all the stuff that makes us happy, first of all. So I'm going to call mine Happy. Or you can call it nice, something that's positive. Add. And then here, you simply have to add examples of that would make you, if someone said to you, would make you smile. So I like your drawing. And then add. Then add an example. Your song is great. Add example. Fantastic work. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in examples of, try and get about 10, 11, 12 of phrases that are really positive, that if someone said to you, would make you smile. All right. If you want to share some things in the chat, because people do sometimes feel a bit pressured, oh, what can they say? If you want to share some positive messages in the chat, that'd be great. We can I'm going to start sharing that with people. So we'll give you about 3 minutes or so to kind of put in some examples of some messages that would make someone happy. Okay. So I like drawing. Your song is great. Fantastic work. Brilliant effort. Add example, you played well. Your score is really good. I love your story. So what we're going to do is just add in some examples of things that if someone said to you would make you smile. You have tried really hard. There. Great work. That is so well done. So I'm trying to be quite natural in phrases that I might want to say. You couldn't. You were going to say, I think your playing is amazing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 11 examples there. So we're going to do that. Can I put in some examples of things that would make people happy if you said that to them? And this is us building our knowledge base. Now, if you've joined our sessions previously, you'll remember, hopefully, that artificial intelligence models are based on collecting lots and lots and lots of examples of things and then forming patterns and then applying that in different projects. And this is where things like biasness can come in there. So, you know, if you're a footballer, for example, a lot of the things that would make you happy might be all kind of football related. So a lot of your kind of examples put in there might be all footballish, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can tell, but I've talked about playing quite a bit and songs, and I'm quite interested in music. So perhaps there's maybe a slight biasness on my behalf of things to do with playing music in this collection of statements. So try and have a think about the kind of stuff that will make you happy. And then if you're getting a bit stuck, try and pull the knowledge from your pals that are in your class, or perhaps teachers. You can maybe get someone to write on the whiteboard some examples of things that might be good, or indeed if you want to just share in the chat some examples of things that are positive and might make you happy, that would be brilliant. So that's one thing. That's some happy ones. And then we're going to do our sad ones now, or our not so nice ones. And it's the same thing when you put some examples. If people said to you, you'd be a bit, doesn't make me feel very good. So some examples, things that are not very nice. And again, let's be considerate about what we want to say. No, let's not try and get into the whole personal insult type thing. So let's get some examples of, you should try harder. I didn't like that. You didn't do that very well. Your poem makes no sense. That was pretty poor overall. You made too many mistakes. So you get the idea. Going to add in some examples of things that if someone said to you, you'd be a bit, that wasn't very nice. Try harder. That's not good enough. Your playing is out of time. Or something along those lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll do that a couple. That drawing is rubbish. There we go. So, this is us creating a knowledge base. This is us using our experience of things that make us happy, things that make us sad, or perhaps we're doing it as a class, And we're creating a model for our artificial intelligence program to think, well, these are the things that make people happy in one block, and these are the things that make people sad in another block. So this is just kind of collecting that knowledge and collecting that thing. And once we've got that collection of knowledge, we then need to train the computer to say, right, okay, you need to try and start finding the patterns and the links and the common threads between all the stuff that makes people happy and all the links and common threads of all the stuff that makes people sad. And that's the kind of training part of the process. So what I'll do, because I'm not sure if you're all managed to access the site. I'm hoping you are. I'll just quickly go and show you what the training looks like. So again, don't worry, you don't have to jump along with me straight away, but if you've got some examples of happy, sad, that'd be great. I'm going to go and show you how to do the training part. We can come back, give you the chance to add some more things to your happy and sad blocks. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my knowledge base to begin with. I'm going to click on back to project. Then I'm going to go to the next box, which is learn and test. And this is actually us training our model. And again, there's not actually much for us to do here other than press a button. So it's telling us what we've done. It says that it's identified 11 examples of happy, 10 examples of sad. So all I need to do, and all you need to do, is press the button that says train new machine learning model. And just wait. Now again, what's happening, it's trying to find those patterns within each of those boxes, those bundles that I've made. And it's trying to kind of write itself some rules to recognize the commonalities and phrases that are nice and phrases that are not so nice. And it takes a minute or so for it to happen, and it just looks like this. So again, you're literally just sitting, hands free. I'm not doing anything as I'm waiting for it to spin through and job. If you're doing this along with me, you'll notice there's a wee quiz at the bottom. You can try and do the wee quiz about machine learning and that. If you want to do this, there's no harm to give it a shot. You don't get graded or anything like that. And here we go, and it's done. So I know it's done because this box appears. And it says, try putting in some text to see how it's recognized based on your training. So now I can put some stuff in here to see what it's like. So I'm going to say, love your guitar playing. Now I know I didn't type that into my knowledge base. So when I press the test button, it's going to say, well, what phrase matches my understanding of happy and sad? And it's going to come back and say, well, I think this is a happy thing or a sad thing, and it's going to tell us something else. And so when I press test, it says it's recognized as happy with 93% confidence. So what that's saying is that based on the training it's done, it's 93% sure that phrase, I love your guitar playing, is a happy thing, and it's 93% sure that's the case. But if I say, I liked that, press test, 87% sure that that's happy, it's okay. 59% sure that that's a happy thing. So you can see, based on what we put in, it's figuring out if it's happy or sad thing, and it's giving us a percentage about how sure it is that that's the case. That is not good at all. 95% sure that that's a sad thing. That's trash. 95% sure that that's a sad thing. So you can see that it's trying to take those phrases and understand and apply what it's kind of figured out it's pattern matching between those different things, and it's then given us a certainty of what's in there. But you might think, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. However, what if I was to put something in here like this? Apples are a fruit. That, as a sentence, is an absolutely fine sentence. But what do you think is going to happen? Although I'm happy to slow down, I'm very, very aware that those things are going to. But just out of interest, if I put in apples are, any idea what's going to happen? Well, all our model knows is things that are happy and things that are sad. So what it's going to do is it's going to classify that sentence as a happy or sad sentence. Press test. It's recognised that is sad, but it's only 25% sure that's the case because it doesn't really understand the pattern, but it's only got two options it can make if it's happy or sad. So I'm going to bear that in mind as well. I'm hoping that all your machine learning stuff's working. I'm going to go back to the training session here. Hopefully your learners in the class have got a few examples in. What I'll do is I'll give you a minute or so to at least put a few in each box, a happy and sad one. And then if you can all click train button, then we'll move on to connect that to our Scratch project. Okay. So if you've got a few examples and you're happy and sad, and I am aware that speed of typing is an issue in situations like that, so I totally get that. So once we have a couple of examples, you can always go back and change this later on. You press learn and test, and you press the button that says train new model, and you'll know it's working because this box appears where you can try things out. Okay, so again, I'll give you another minute or so. Just hopefully, if we can get to that point, then we'll move on to connecting all that knowledge to our Scratch program. Again, that wee thing at the start took too well to get everyone logged in. That was unexpected. I was hoping to finish about kind of the 11:45 or 50. It might actually go on closer to 12 o'clock, but we'll try and get through it quickly, but also give you time to catch up. The instructions for what I'm doing just now are in the worksheets section of the Machine Learning for Kids website, and I've also got a recording this activity that I've done yesterday, which is just me going through like a video tutorial of how to do things. So, and again, just to get an idea of where everyone is, if you can use one of the reactions and let us know if you're okay for me to move on to the connecting it to the Scratch thing, that'd be great. Oh, there's a wee heart there. So how many people do we have? Okay.
Lots of thumbs up now.
Right, okay, brilliant. So again, if you're not at the stage where you managed to to train it. It just takes a minute for it to go through, and when you have trained it, this box appears, and that's where you know it's done. So when you go back to the project, and it's the fun bit, you go to make, and you get the option to connect the model you just built to some of these different coding platforms. So, if you're a Python programmer, if you're in computing classes here, you might connect to Python or EduBlocks, which is great, but I think everyone's more than happy. So we're going to click on Scratch 3, and what it's going to do, it's going to create these blocks, these recognized text blocks with the Machine Learning for Kids logo, and they're going to appear as blocks within the Scratch environment now. So when we click on Open in Scratch 3, what's happening here is that down the bottom left, my project was called Emotions, and you can see the Machine Learning for Kids icons here of my Emotions project. And I click on that, I now get these different blocks here. One says Recognize Text Label, Recognize Text Confidence. My two boxes, Happy and Sad, are here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to build our project like we did before, but instead of saying, if the answer equals, I like your drawing, then do this. And if it's instead of writing that, we're going to compare it to if it's realized it's a happy thing, it's going to change to the happy face. So to do that, I'm going to quickly just create a wee face. I'm going to use the circle tool. So I'm going to create a couple of wee eyes. So copy, paste. So again, literally you can just make it two different colored circles if you want. I'm going to make two wee faces. I'm just duplicating these things. I'm going to make those my eyeballs, make them black, make these white. So again, you don't have to make a face. You literally can just use a red square and a green triangle as your different costumes, and that'll work just as well. I'm going to just do this to illustrate. So I'm going to make, there is my copy paste. There we go. Here's one eye, copy paste. There we go. So there's my face. I'm going to call that one waiting. And I'm just going to right click and duplicate that and duplicate that. And this one's going to be my happy face. Take a paintbrush. There. This will be my sad face. Paintbrush. Okay. So you could spend, of course, more time creating those different costumes and the like. So what you want to do is create a sprite. I've called mine's face. It's got a waiting face, happy face, and a sad face. Like so. You could literally, if you wanted, just have a costume that's green, a costume that's red, and a costume that's purple or whatever, just to kind of have your three different costumes. What you want is three different costumes that you know what they are, as happy as it's sad, because you can always go back and change them later on. So if I wanted to make my character more realistic or more expressive, then I go back and I can change it. So that's what we need to do, is to create that costume from characters. So I've got my sprite that's called face, I've got a waiting costume, I've got a happy costume, and a sad costume. So it's the same sprite with three different states, three different costumes. So again, just to illustrate, you could have literally just drawn a circle like, and then you could have just made it, a red one. Duplicate, excuse me, and make that a green one. That's something that they could just make it like traffic lights if you so wanted. So waiting could be a black circle, happy, sad could be green, or vice versa. But you get the idea. You don't have to worry too much about what the characters are just now, as long as you know there's a difference between the happy face and the sad face. Okay, so literally one character, 3 costumes, and if you give your costumes names, which is up there, excuse me, it'll make your code make a bit more sense now, because you'll be saying switch to the happy face as opposed to costume 2, costume 3, which can be a bit confusing if you've got lots and lots of different costumes. That's what we have. So if you remember what our code was, it was fairly straightforward. I'll put it in place so you can see it and you can put it up, so you can kind of code along at the same time. So I'll do the demonstration and then leave it up so you can work through it. So when the green flag's clicked, what we want to do is find the forever loop. And looks, we're going to switch to our costume is waiting. So when we start, it's going to just wait. Again, I'm just going to write the script so we can leave it up there so you can see it. And we'll talk through it, and then you can ask some questions when some techniques of the camera's on. You can physically ask things if you need to. Switch to costume waiting. We go to the sensing option, use the ask feature. We'll say something to me. And then we'll use an if statement. And we'll find our operator to find the equals button. And again, I'm going to leave this up so you can see it. So if something equals something, then. So from sensing, you find answer. So if the answer, this is when it gets to the machine learning bit. Go down to your emotions. So if the answer is happy. Now, that's what we want it to say. However, we need to make sure that the answer has been into the machine learning model. So I've built it like this, just so you can see. This is what we're essentially trying to do. But what you need to do is put this one here, recognize able, into the first condition. It's like your answer in there. And what this does is it takes whatever answer you've typed in and literally types it into that box that I was showing you earlier. It runs it and it figures out if it's happy or sad. So it compares basically that outcome with is it being happy. So if it's happy, then we can go to looks, switch to costume, happy. And I can duplicate that and do the same thing, but instead of being happy, you can choose sad. We pop that inside there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to wait just a few seconds, just then we'll go back to ask the next question. So wait. Excuse me. So this is the simple code we need to connect our machine learning model to our Scratch program. I'm up there, so but if I quickly run it, I'll just run it in the little window here. And you can see that it does say something. So if I say nice, I'm going to say, I love the way you dance. That's what I've typed in. I don't know how well it comes across there. But what I'll do, I'll take that, I'll stick it in the answer, I'll put it into the machine learning model, it'll figure out if it's happy or sad thing, it'll come back to Scratch and say, I think it's happy. Are you looking for happy? If that's the case, we'll switch to face one, the smiley face. If it's not, see what happens. So I'm going to press that. And it's come back and give me the happy face. It's asking me another question. So that's what we're doing. It's 11:42. I'm going to leave that on the board, and that's what you want to try and get to. Is to try and get to the whole thing where you connect your pre-trained model to Scratch, and then you're getting Scratch to make decisions based on rules that you've trained your AI model with. In our case, it's whatever I type into Scratch, I want the machine to figure out if it's a happy thing or a sad thing. Based on that decision, we're going to change the costume to happy or sad. So it's 11:42. I know that was quick. I apologise, that was quick. But if I leave that on the board, hopefully you can see that, you'll be able to follow along. I'm happy to take questions if you want, and hopefully we'll have some working programs and we can maybe share with on Twitter or whatever. That would be great to see that. So if you have any questions, do just pop the chat or stick your hand up and we'll come to you and turn your mic on or whatever, and that'd be great.
And the links